What is up, squad? Stacey, Ervin Jr. here, and welcome to this 20-minute splits practice. Yes, this is a practice, because if you do this once and you got it, that'd be insane. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you know when we're coming back with another video, and drop a like for the video, right? Show some love. If you don't have one already, grab a towel, grab some water. You can pause it real quick, because this is like a stretch, fit, hit. So let's get after it. We're going to start off here with some standing hip circles, about 30 seconds on each leg. I do stop prior to the 30-second mark here, but if you are enjoying that and you're feeling that movement and what it's breaking up in the hip, continue. You have the full minute to do so. So you don't have to get your knee up as high as I am doing here, but you do have to get your knee up high and move in that same pattern. We don't often move like this, so when you are, it is going to feel strange. If you need to balance on something, you certainly can. But get that knee up, lift it out to the side at 90 degrees, bring it down, and reverse that movement pattern. This is warming up the hips, right? We're here to learn the splits. We're here to get the hips right for that type of movement, and so we got to start off with the hips, stretching it out. Again, you have 10 more seconds for this. I had to move the phone. The timer was on there, and it was, you know how it is when the iPhone gets that heat notification. It would have been bad. So now we're getting into some high swing kicks here. You don't have to kick as high as I'm kicking, but you do need motion in the front and the back. Now, do not kick as high as you possibly can. This is meant to just open the hip up in that plane of movement. So it doesn't got to be crazy, but you do want to get that little stretch. You will be sore from this, for real. This is not something that you were just going to do once and be like, oh yeah, I stretched. No, like this is for real. You're using and activating muscles in a way that you don't before or may not have before, but you just want to make sure you're swinging in front and back, getting that movement. It doesn't have to be as extreme as this. And if it is greater than this, amazing. If it's further on both ends, cool, but just know you don't have to go too crazy on this. Really trying to emphasize getting that heel back and opening it out so you can really swing, because that swing just allows you to be a little more free in that plane. Now with these alternating heel drives, again, you can stop your hands on something elevated, or you can stop them on the floor, but you definitely want to get that side-to-side rock on both sides, so your center of mass goes over that base leg as you drive your heel, and that like crescent shape. Stretch out the hamstrings. Again, you don't have to kick as extremely, but you do want to get that movement in there, elevating the hands to make it a little more of a gentle stretch. Going into standing toe touch pulses. Again, this is all to get the hamstrings. Now hamstrings, lower back, calves. Just as the previous one, if you want to de-intensify this movement, hands on an elevated surface to stop you. That way you're not getting that full crazy stretch in the hamstring, you know what I mean? But you are getting a stretch in the hamstring nonetheless, keeping the knees relatively straight there. Starting into some knee circles. Now these are important because you got to understand how much is going on around your knee joint. And if it's not moving in all planes prior to getting into something like a split, you're going to be like, what the hell? How is this even supposed to be possible? But with stretching, it improves your mind-muscle connection and your physical awareness, so it's super helpful. Now we got tuck to pike bounces. Get your knees warmed up. You can tuck all the way down if you can. If you cannot, feel free to stop above the tuck. But this is good. You can see my Achilles could be much looser. I can't fire side squat or camp squat. Keeping my heels down there. You want to just make sure you're bouncing the knees out and getting the hamstrings at the top. Not shoving your legs back, but gently bouncing them to a straighter position. And now jumping into sumo stretch. Walk your feet out. Allow your hips to sink back. Be on top of your quads if you can with your elbows, keeping your chest up. Now sumo side. Sumo stretch, you're pushing off of one side, turning your chest towards the knee that you're elevating your hand on your quad with. It's going to open up your back, open up your hips. Switch sides on that. Do about 15 seconds on each side. That's gonna help. I mean, again, this is opening the hips, opening those hamstrings, opening that back thoracic spine. Coming up next with this one. So now posting up both your hands, doing a sumo twist here, dropping your shoulders through, in and through, in and through, in and through. Standing straddle stretch in the center, so you're bouncing, sort of like we did with the pike to tuck bounces. Just getting a little push at the bottom. It's an active stretch, so you have to maintain tension. It's not like allowing yourself to relax entirely. You still have to remain somewhat tense through that stretch to get that reflex and that movement and safety, to be honest, bracing your core. Standing straddle stretch pulse is same, but we're going on the sides now. Again, we're just working on the hamstrings, the knees, lower back right there. You're gonna get it in your calf because you're supporting your body weight. All of these predominantly modified by, all the standing positions predominantly modified by putting your hand on an elevated surface instead of the floor. Now we're working our way down to seated butterfly stretch. We're in here, palms of our feet touching, trying to get your knees down. Again, I'm doing the most, as always, doing the most in the stretch, but if you can not get your knees down all the way, this is your opportunity to kind of wrench open those adductors, those internal thigh muscles, pushing your leg down, but doing so gently. You're not like, you don't got to wrench it. Again, this is a splits practice. You return to these. I'm telling you, you throw this into your routine and you will get the splits, guaranteed. You work through the modifications. My day one did not look like this, that's for sure. And honestly, I know people who have, I'm not even close to the most flexible. So you just have to make sure that you return to it. And I promise eventually you'll be able to do splits. But what comes from that, right? What comes from that? A lot of great mobility, flexibility, movement. I just talked that entire seated straddle reach, but again, keeping tension throughout that to make sure you're feeling good. Now we're on one side. Reach, reach, reach. If you can, go ahead and reach over the top. Open up that side body. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You already know. I'm telling you, you don't have to go this far. But if you work your way down slowly, little by little, you're going to be seeing progress. Practice. A practice is like a daily thing. We used to do splits training. This is like 30-minute warm-up. We used to do like a 30-minute warm-up before beginning practice. You know what I mean? It does not come easily necessarily, but it does come simply because it just requires discipline. Now we're doing that seated straddle center stretch. Put your hands on the floor and slide your body out, or for a harder variant of that, what I'm doing currently. Hands behind the head, keeping your core braced as you're lowering all the way through. That's literally all core activation while you're stretching the hamstrings out. Absolutely goes insane. But you have to be cautious with that too, right? Core strength is key. Now we're moving over into seated pike pulses. Trying to get those, sit those hip bones back. That's what I was just doing there. Rolling your hip bones underneath you. Trying to put your lower back, your lower spine as far beneath you, behind you as possible, so you can reach to your feet at a shorter distance, but you're still getting that stretch in the hamstring. It's a way to protect the pike and develop that strength and awareness of those lower back muscles. Now we're going to try this pike hold. As we're doing this pike hold, Just as far down as you can. No, nothing crazy. At this point, I was so wetting, for real. I was out in the Florida sun doing this. That's crazy on this freaking red brick oven. Tell me why the 1P energy was still cool though when I had a sip of it at the end. For real. All right, here we go. We're going into right leg deep lunge. Now when you do this, you're trying to keep your chest upright. That right leg feeling as centered as possible. Trying to get that back leg open. Foot pointed. You see how my toes not digging in the ground. Foot pointed. That way you can let that hip flexor open up. And you're getting that deep stretch on both sides. Now you bring your elbow down. Reach, elbow down, reach, elbow down, reach out. It's a small reach too. Don't try and windows to the walls. Just reach, give it a little stretch, bring that elbow down to the heel. You can let that knee fall out to the side a little bit, but don't let it drop all the way open. Keep a little tension in it. Now we're going into straight leg lunge, so that foot can be flat on the floor, or as you'll see, flexing that foot, open up that whole back knee, hamstring, calf, go crazy, glute, lower back, little foot wave right there. Goes crazy. Super important to get the hamstring open. Notice we haven't even done the splits yet, y'all. We haven't even gotten there yet. We're almost there, but we haven't gotten there yet. Right leg pigeon stretch. So again, you might have to elevate that knee. You can modify these by opening up that back leg, that back hip. Trying to get that glute open. Now we're going in to a right leg split. And here is the main reason why we're voicing over with this one, because you need to know that you need to turn that back leg underneath. Right now my right leg is in front, left leg is in back. That back knee has to be rolled underneath. And this is why we did all that hip warm up. That's an internal rotation of the hip as it's being pressed backwards. You understand that you need flexibility and strength mobility to create that underneath hip rotation while stretching. That's why we develop it right there. That's why we develop it right there. If you can go unsupported. This is not advisable if you're just starting off learning splits. You know, and obviously splits can be supported, hands on a block on either side to alleviate the stretch. And you don't got to go that depth. Now we're doing left leg lunge. Again, same thing, keeping that knee turned under in the back. You see me right there, I said, woo. At this point, it was way too hot out there. So we got that hip, back knee turned open. Pushing through the hip, opening up that back hip flexor again. Elbow reach down to that inner heel, reach, heel, reach, heel, reach. Just doing that little body saw opens up that glute, opens up the hamstring. Internal rotators, wow, going crazy. Now we're entering that straight leg lunge again. I messed up my order in my mind. I said, oh, it's pigeon. We're chilling. We're chilling. And then I was like, hold up. Hold up. It's hot outside. That's not right. We need straight leg lunge first. They'll understand. And so now straight leg lunge, right? Rocking with that heel. See, I only got a little bit of time in that stretch, but hopefully you got the full 30. My mistake there. You can tell it's crazy hot here. I was like Alright, I should have also brought my towel for a use other than covering the iPhone for a timer. Left leg pigeon stretch. We're down here now, chilling. If you need to elevate your knee for this or elevate the pigeon stretch, feel free to do so. Now we're getting into left leg supported split. You don't have to be as far down. You could be further down. You may not be. If you're watching this, you probably are not. And so we want to make sure that you're supporting that split, because if you're not, you're going to be putting too much pressure on those ligaments, muscles, and stuff if you're just now getting into this type of movement. Stretching creates a different type of soreness and a different type of adaptation, so you want to make sure you support yourself here so your body doesn't have to take the full load of that stretch. And if you're ready for it, once you get to that stage, you will probably need to be challenged to do an unsupported split. And you can see how much that drops from being supported to not supported. And now we're going into Achilles stretch, closing out the 2 full splits on either side. Again, if you're not all the way down, you should not feel bad. You should not judge yourself for that. It is really challenging to get all the way down. And the more you do this, the better it will get. Achilles stretch, now we're just working out the legs, moving the knees, getting active again after those static stretches. Now we got alternating forward and backward hip circles again, activating those hips, activating the movement of those hips. So when I was doing this, I did forward on both sides and then backwards on both sides. Active flexibility here, active mobility activation. About 30 seconds of that. We're going into frog stretch, because we got the 2 splits, we got the 2 already. But now center split is different. That's the little breather, the little break in between. Keep the hips, give them some type of rest, some refresh. Frog stretch did it. Frog stretch does it. Now we're going to do frog stretch heel lifts, trying to lift that heel and the back on both sides, one at a time. This is really activating the glute, them internal rotators. Talking deep muscles, deep muscles. If you can't lift your heel, that's okay. You should literally be trying to get your heel up off the floor. Even if you cannot at present, you need to try to lift it for sure. And if you can, lift it just about as high as you can actively. And now we're jumping into a supported center split, trying to keep your hips close, trying to keep your heels open. The palms of your feet towards the floor is ideal. Talking full center split here. Knees turned up towards the ceiling. And this is why we do all the knee rotation and the hip rotation, because it has to be active here. Have to be able to get that movement in. Got a visitor on my right there. He said, "What's up, dog?" Supported center split here, and if you can, unsupport the center split. But if not, that's all right too. You see, I was like not really feeling it right there, because it's sort of balanced here at that point. Woo, woo! We made it through. We made it through. We made it through. Okay, okay, okay. Tuck to pike bounces. So pretty much what we were doing at the beginning there as our warm up, we are now using as a cool down. Look at that. We made it through the 3. We made it through the 3. Knee circles. Knee circles. Left leg split, right leg split, center split. Wrapped up in there. Knee circles here, knee bounces, tuck bounces. Just loosening up, warm, cooling down. Standing straddle stretch pulses. Again, opening the body here, hamstrings, lower back. This is cool down. You made it through. Look at that. Look at that. Standing straddle stretch pulses. You made it through that stretch. You made it through. You made it through the split practice. Let's go. Well done. Seriously. Great work. Shake out those legs. Shake out those legs. Worth it. Make sure you hydrate. That's really it. Thank you guys for joining me on this one. Again, make sure you hydrate. Get those legs shaken out. It's really important. As you do it, it's super key. Come back to this anytime you need. This is a practice. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. That's just how it goes. Persistence, consistency wins. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and share your feedback down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. I'm chilling. I hope you are too. Make sure you save this video on a playlist or watch later. Come back. Practice it out. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, Stacey, Ervin Jr. out. Ride the wave.